Did you know that there are slaves that poison their masters? And there's at least one that went through trial and got away with it. Let's call this a tale of two Josephines. Josephine Webb was born around 1841 and was enslaved in Caroline County, Maryland. In July of 1855, at just 14 years old, she was working in her owner's household and was reportedly punished harshly by her mistress. A few days later, Josephine volunteered to cook dinner, but she didn't serve what anyone expected. She secretly laced coffee with arsenic. Her intended target was her owner, but instead, her mistress's cousin, Mary Reed, fell ill and died from the poison. Josephine was arrested and tried, ultimately convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 18 years in the Maryland Penitentiary, a sentence she would never complete. She died in prison in 1867. This Josephine story challenges the common comfort with the idea that enslaved women in domestic roles were somehow less demonized or less brutalized. In reality, life in the household often meant constant proximity to violence. Our second Josephine comes from a completely different part of the South, Mississippi, 1857. She was a cook for the Jones family, and according to court records and newspaper reports, she's accused of poisoning a tea served to her enslaver, Lafayette Jones, his wife, and their infant daughter. The mother and baby became violently ill, and the child died. Josephine and an enslaved man named George were tried multiple times for the crime. Despite being implicated in the poisoning, they were eventually exonerated after 4 years of trials and mistrials. What makes her story especially compelling to historians is that we do have fragments of her voice in the record, which is rare when people enslaved couldn't officially testify in their own trials. Chapter 2 of Burn Down Master's House is inspired by these two phenomenal women and shows ways that enslaved women, especially those working in intimate household spaces, found means of resistance when every other path was blocked. Poison as a tool of resistance challenges the traditional narrative that resistance was only physical rebellion or escape. For many enslaved women, it was deeply personal, born out of suffering that wasn't seen or acknowledged by historians for decades. Are you reading Burn Down Master's House? Head over to Storygraph to participate in the Chapter 2 discussion. If you're not, what are you waiting for? This book is addicting. Go get it.